Welcome to eWay Podcasts, podcasts from the world of CRM, business, and entrepreneurship. In today's article, called Guerrilla Marketing, When Ideas Replace Money, we'll discover the power of creativity combined with a low budget. You want to promote your company, but your budget is more than limited. Or you think it's time to boost your brand communication and add some juice. Either way, you can find some good answers in the tactics used by guerrilla marketing. Make some time to listen to this podcast and reflect on it. It'll pay off. When speaking of guerrilla, you probably think of deployed guerrilla units fighting against larger and better equipped troops. J. Conrad Levinson had the same idea and described those basic principles of guerrilla marketing in his book. In guerrilla marketing, you strive to defeat your competitors by using unconventional marketing techniques and tools. And just like in guerrilla war, you often find yourself standing against bigger forces. In this case, meaning marketing experts backed by huge budgets and numerous teams. Think about the concept of guerrilla marketing for a minute, and you'll discover its main advantages and possible obstacles. The advantage is that a skillful marketer needs only a minimum of resources to reach the goal. Skill and idea, when used well, can beat any resources. There's a catch though, a disadvantage. You need to know the environment inside out, and you also need the support of the local people. If the local folks didn't support the guerrilla fighters, many rebellions would probably fail. In today's podcast, we'll first summarize what we can learn from guerrilla units and how to make use of it for effective marketing. In the second part, we'll present examples of guerrilla marketing in practice and give some tips on how to do it. Then, we'll talk about the viral effect and how to work with it. In the end, we'll share some tips that'll come in handy. Let's start. The first part, what the guerrilla units teach us. A guerrilla campaign relies on originality and unusual techniques. That means guerrilla should always be much cheaper than traditional advertising. It's also supposed to have a much greater impact. That's why it's so popular with small companies which don't have the budget for expensive advertising. Multinational companies also use guerrilla tactics from time to time. It's not about money in their case. Why do they use it then? The well-executed guerrilla event brings global brands closer to young people and wins them some of the very much wanted public relation points. The guerrilla way of fighting inspired the best practices for the successful guerrilla campaign. Let's see. The strike must be unexpected, aimed at predetermined targets, and at the end of the event, the attackers immediately withdraw to appointed positions. A key element of success is the moment of surprise, which must be planned carefully. We only have one try, so it's make it or break it. Guerrilla units never get a second chance to attack either. So what will ensure our success? Let's look at different types of guerrilla marketing. We can divide guerrilla marketing into three types. The first type is based on the original use of unusual elements. One example is the Gold Toe campaign, which featured a new underwear collection. Gold Toe could prepare a series of television commercials or rent billboards. Instead, they had huge panties stitched and placed directly on one of New York's most famous landmarks, the Bull statue on Wall Street. The bull dressed in panties gained great popularity thanks to tourist selfies, and Gold Toe achieved what they wanted, media attention. The second type is based on addressing the target group in a non-typical environment. Everybody knows the sportswear company Nike and the values that it promotes. For Nike, guerrilla marketing isn't about saving money, but about spicing up brand communication. Nike likes addressing its target group where it doesn't expect it, like in the subway. Imagine running out of a subway train and rushing to work. You were heading for the escalators, but a distinctive Nike tape covers them. There's no other choice but to go up the stairs. It may not please you, but at least you've just been forced to exercise. The third type takes advantage of opportunities having nothing to do with the brand or are even run by competitors. In 2010, a startup called Warby Parker was eager to promote itself as part of the New York Fashion Week. However, they had no resources for the fashion show or presentation. That's why they threw their secret fashion show one day before the main fashion events. They invited about 40 journalists, rented a municipal library, and sat 30 models at the tables. The models pretended to read books wrapped in a distinctive blue cover while journalists walked around them. The event was a huge success, of course. You can say that the startup stole all the attention from the Fashion Week event. Rule number 1 when creating a guerrilla campaign is originality. Consumers are buried under hundreds and thousands of similar advertisements every day, and maximum creativity digs them up and makes them notice. A perfect idea can even take your campaign to another level, meaning the level of viral sharing. But more on that later in the third part. Now let's go from theory to practice. The second part, get inspired for a successful guerrilla campaign. In the first part, we understood what guerrilla marketing should be and why and what it's used for. We have also mentioned 3 types of campaigns. First, the original use of unusual elements. Second, addressing the target group in a non-typical environment. And third, use of opportunities that have nothing to do with your brand. To conclude, we need to remember the most important rule, which is originality. Take a look at the Post-Funnel blog by Sam Hurley, where he explains the fundamental forms of guerrilla marketing. The primary tool you should use is the so-called power of sharing secrets. It doesn't make sense to prepare an original, great guerrilla campaign which is so secret nobody knows about it and nobody sees it. You need to spread some word in advance to excite your target group and let them know something extraordinary is about to happen. Try to land your physical products, work with brand ambassadors, or share behind-the-scenes information. Do you know how to prepare such a campaign? Where to start? Let's list 5 types of campaigns and give examples. The first type is street art, the second is action, and the third is the use of a competitor's event. The fourth type is personalized content, and the last, the fifth type, is customer assistance. So let's walk through them one by one. The first type, street art. Street art is one of the most popular tools in guerrilla marketing. For example, it may take the form of graffiti. In that case, we strongly recommend to always comply with the law, use only legal areas, washable colors, or so-called reverse graffiti, which uses dusty areas. Street art also includes stickers, flyers, 3-dimensional installations, and video projections. The authors of the environmental campaign knew that they wouldn't catch the attention of the public by addressing people in the streets and handing out leaflets. Even large posters with the words "Save the Trees" placed on the lampposts along the road wouldn't amuse anybody. That's why they added a model of a full-sized cheetah to one of the lights. Drivers, would you notice a giant beast resting on a 4-lane road? We assume so, and the campaign has reached its goal. The Jeep company chose a different approach. When launching its new off-road vehicle, it marked unique limited parking spaces in the city for Jeep car owners. Can you imagine such parking spaces? Yes, they marked them in the middle of the staircase, over the curbs, and across the flower beds. Was it provocative? Yes. Did it fulfill its purpose? Oh, definitely. The second type, action. A common method of guerrilla marketing is organizing unexpected events in busy places. You certainly know the so-called flash mobs, where a group of prearranged participants show a rehearsed performance and disappear at the end. Other examples of guerrilla events include theatrical performances, concerts by philharmonic musicians, or actors in costumes promoting the latest film. T-Mobile Company, for example, used the flash mob technique for its campaign. They hired 350 professional dancers and started a significant performance during the afternoon rush hour at one of London's railway stations. Tinder is a popular dating application now. At the beginning of its launch, Tinder representatives attended college parties and unofficially praised their product directly among their target audience. They visited boys' dormitories and promised meeting attractive female students, and then showed up at the women's dorms and presented muscular male students. And yes, the login rate into the app has skyrocketed. The third type, exploiting the competitor's event. Guerrilla campaigns enjoy the free rides on the activities organized by the competitors. Just think about it. Your target audience is right at the venue, and you have a unique opportunity to attract more customers. Whether you're targeting queues in front of stores or crash-specialized conferences, it works. Launching the new iPhone represents a perfect example of targeting customers waiting in queues. Huawei company took advantage of the situation and sent hostesses who offered blankets to charge their current phone or a cup of coffee to those waiting for a new Apple phone. Of course, all of those items were branded by the Chinese smartphone manufacturer. An American company called WePay sent a rather original message to its competitor. At that time, PayPal had been facing criticism from its customers because the company often froze their accounts for no reason. WePay's co-founder showed up at a PayPal conference with a 270-kilogram ice cube, which he froze several $100s into. He landed the block of ice on the ground and told the surprised conference attendees that they should defrost their PayPal accounts and switch to WePay instead. Quite impressive. The fourth type, personalized content. Personalizing promoted content also represents a useful tool of Guerrilla campaigns. To do that, you need to customize your content to fit a specific customer. The Spotify streaming service has successfully launched such a campaign as they released playlists according to the listener's horoscope. And that wasn't all. They also got the famous astrologist Chani Nicholas on board, and he added an interpretation of the zodiac sign to each song pre-selection. When talking about guerrilla campaigns based on personal content, we can also mention a campaign made by Grasshopper. This company specializes in virtual phones and was striving for media attention. That is why they wrote down a list of 5,000 business owners, journalists, and bloggers and sent everyone the same white package. The package contained 5 meadow horses covered in chocolate and a link to a video. In the video, Grasshopper dared the receivers to take the chance and taste chocolate-covered insects. The video received 8,000 views and the campaign gained 875,000 followers. How come? The recipients shared their experiences, and who wouldn't? The fifth type, customer assistance. Guerrilla campaigns can also bring additional benefits if you focus on the everyday troubles of your customers. Take the American pizza importer called Domino's, for example. They found that when pizza was delivered, the ingredients were often scattered all over the box. It was not the messenger's fault, but the poor condition of the roads was to blame. That's why Domino's launched a campaign in which they asked their customers to let them know of road holes they would like to get repaired. Consumers all over America participated, and Domino's contributed to the state of the roads, as well as to their reputation. A mobile app named Fixed fights against unfair parking fines. As part of the campaign, they hired a group of volunteers, the so-called Fine Heroes, who were looking for fined cars in the streets of San Francisco. When they found a vehicle with a fine behind the windshield wiper, they added the Fixed business card with instructions on how to avoid the fine. Those were some examples of successful campaigns and the 5 methods they use. Those methods are street art, events, use of competitors' activities, personalized content, and customer assistance. We hope you have gained some inspiration on how to do yours. The next section of our podcast focuses on the viral distribution of content and how to respond to it. Third part, how to use the viral effect. Viral marketing and guerrilla marketing aren't the same things. A well-run guerrilla campaign usually goes viral, but this isn't a prerequisite for its planning. Guerrilla advertising is sometimes perceived as offensive or even aggressive. Of course, you address the target group as creatively as you can and in the most natural environment possible. If you manage to do it right, consumers will likely share their experience online. That's how your campaign gets a viral potential. However, as mentioned, this is only a secondary effect. You can think of it as a reward for a well-done campaign. Imagine that you have your campaign ready. You have mastered the moment of surprise, and people like it. They shoot it on smartphones, take pictures, write about their experience on social networks and blogs, and other people comment on it, like it, and share it. Generated content spreads virally and gets far beyond the original audience who saw your campaign with their own eyes. It begins to live on its own. Congratulations, you've created viral content. But what next? You need to be aware that if done well, your campaign has viral potential. It doesn't matter if it's a marketing or a guerrilla event. You must carefully consider all possible risks in advance. A well-done campaign can change your brand perception forever, and not just among your customers. Consumers tend to punish any communication misconduct and inform all their friends about it on social networks. Everybody likes to point out a mistake. That way, you also receive a viral spread of the campaign, but with the exact opposite result. Long story short, it's crucial not only to think of all the impacts of the campaign in advance, but also to monitor all the events and reactions taking place during the campaign. You need to respond to comments from your target audience and competitors. Always carefully evaluate the effect and progress of your campaign. The worst thing you can do is to avoid crisis communication. Being prepared eliminates the risk, and the audience reaction has the potential of an avalanche. Fourth part, hints that come in handy. You already know that the originality of the idea, spreading the word, and surprise are the essential ingredients of a proper guerrilla campaign. You've drawn inspiration from successful campaigns, and you found out how to get the most out of viral content distribution. Now your introduction to guerrilla marketing is complete, and it's time to give you a few last hints. Let us summarize 3 of the guidelines for guerrilla campaigners. For more tips and other details, check the moosen.com blog. First guideline, it's crucial to know the environment and the target group. Second guideline, it's not enough to prepare and execute the campaign. You also need to monitor the reactions and respond to them. Third guideline, make your campaign as interactive as possible. Use the communication tools to their full potential. They'll help you facilitate the possible viral distribution of created content. And here comes the last advice, applicable for all marketing campaigns. Measure and carefully analyze all outputs. It doesn't matter if you focus on the number of social interactions, sales growth, target audience perception, or brand awareness. Collected data is the most valuable outcome you can get. You've been listening to an eWay podcast. The article was written by Jan Brichta and Vladana Bakova, spoken by Cliff Coma. For more inspirational audio recordings, please visit our blog at blog.eway-crm.com, podcast section.